Welcome to Family Lifestyles. I'm Janey Cline, Family Consumer Science Agent for Hart County. I have with me today Rachel Hance. She is the Family Consumer Science Agent from Logan County. Welcome, Rachel.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're going to talk today about some healthy snacks. I know that the holidays are on their way and we all tend to gain a little weight during the holidays, and so if we can snack healthy from now till then, that will help, won't it?
Yes, and there's so many things to keep in mind when you think about snacking in general. And over the past 20 or 30 years, our snacking habits as a population have changed.
Drastically.
We tend to snack more, and much of the time, the choices that we make for our snacks are not the healthiest options. But the good news is that there are healthy options out there. It does take a little bit of forethought and planning, though, to really make those healthy snacks a part of our diet.
Yes, and a trip to the grocery store or maybe to the farmer's market, you can't drive through the drive-through and snack healthily.
Right. Some things that you want to remember, I've got several tips to keep in mind to help us overcome those unhealthier choices. And the first one would be to follow My Plate. I know we talk a lot of times about My Plate and what is My Plate, and it comes from the USDA. And it's really our food groups, and all of our food fall into some sort of food group. So if we can keep My Plate and those different food groups in mind when we're choosing our snacks, we can tend to pick healthier options. And the good news is those healthy snacks can come from a variety of food groups, all of the food groups. For example, fresh fruits and vegetables. Those are two of our food groups, and many times we don't pick fresh fruits and vegetables. Number one, I know in my case, when I buy fresh fruits and vegetables, I have to prepare them as soon as I get home. If I don't, then I won't choose those when it comes to snacking time, because what happens when you want a snack? You want it quickly, right? Right. So if you choose fresh fruits and vegetables, wash them as soon as you get home, cut them up if necessary, especially if you have small kids at home, and you want to provide those healthy options for small kids. And a lot of times fresh fruits and vegetables take that little extra step of prep when you get home.
Yes, and placing them in a spot where you can see them as well.
Yes.
If they're in the back of the refrigerator or down in a bin or something like that, you're not going to see those and make that your first choice.
Right. And especially if you have small kids at home, make them accessible so that they see them. Another food group that's easy to assess with healthy snacks is our grain group. Popcorn, for example. Now, keeping in mind that there are different versions of popcorn. There are healthier versions and unhealthy versions. And later in the segment, we'll look at what is a serving size, a healthy serving size of popcorn. Or low-fat granola bars provide lots of good grains from that grain group. Those are a good healthy option too.
The popcorn choice, I think of movies. You know, we often grab the bag of chips instead of the popcorn. You know, but
because it takes that extra step to fix the popcorn.
It does. Although we now have some that's already prepared, but for the most part, I like to pop my own, and it's hot and fresh. And all of that. So yes.
Another food group to hit would be your dairy group. Low-fat string cheese, yogurt, those are very convenient. We'll talk about convenience a little bit. Or even nuts from your protein group. Nuts, though, are high in fat, have a tendency to be higher in fat, so you want to choose options or really pay attention to your serving size when it comes to nuts, and we'll look at that later in the segment as well.
Yes, it's kind of surprising how few nuts you can eat, but they are so good for you.
Yes, they do provide many nutrients that we need. Another tip for snacking smarter is to develop a plan. Now, let me ask you, when you think of snacks, do you build them into your day as a whole?
I try to. I usually have some apples sitting on my counter or, a banana or something like that, and I try to grab something like that as I go out the door, just as a snack, because it helps so much.
Right.
To keep me from overeating at meals.
Sure. And, when you think of a snacking plan, you have to think about your day as a whole and plug those snacks in, just like you would think about what you're going to fix for supper or what you're going to have for lunch or breakfast. You have to think about what I'm going to have for a snack in order to plan for those healthier snacks.
Right. I mean, there's been a lot of days when I forgot a snack from home, and I would just start looking around the office to try to see what I could find, and it was never a good choice.
Right. If you don't plan for it, you most likely are going to choose something that is just available.
Yes.
And sometimes that's not always the healthiest option.
Yeah.
Another tip would be to only eat snacks when you're hungry. And I have struggled with this before. I don't always have to be hungry to eat a snack. So try to be mindful of whether you're really hungry. Maybe you're just thirsty. Maybe you should just drink some water. But try to only eat snacks if you're truly hungry, and then make those healthy options. And keeping portion control in mind. We'll look at that in just a few minutes. But many times when we sit down with the whole bag, we tend
We'll eat the whole bag.
that it does. It leads us to overeating. So you want to think about those portion controls. How much is a portion? Read the label and find out how much one serving size is.
It's very surprising when you read that label.
It is. But if you do it repeatedly, it can become a habit. And so you're really starting to pay attention to what those serving sizes are.
Yeah.
Another tip would be to try what's called a high-low combination. And that would be maybe combine something with something small, a small amount of something with larger, more fat in it, like peanut butter. Peanut butter has lots of good nutrients. It's a good source of protein, but it does have a lot of fat in it. Combine that with some apple slices or some celery sticks, something that's much lower in calories and fat, but you're getting the nutrients from it as well.
Well, and that fiber in your apples is going to help with you not eating so much of that.
Absolutely. Something else might be to snack mindfully. And what I mean by that is don't snack when you're doing something else. And I think as a population, we have a tendency to always snack while we're doing something else, whether it be watching TV or working on work or homework or just hanging out with family and friends. We don't pay attention all the time to how much we're eating when we're doing something else.
Yeah, I can eat a bag of popcorn or a bag of chips even.
Right.
Without even thinking about it.
Right.
You really do have to be mindful of what you're eating.
So the best rule of thumb would be to stop whatever it is you're doing while you're having that snack and really pay attention to your snack.
Well, Rachel, you've shared some great tips with us, and we're going to come back, and I think you have quite a few that you still want to share with us.
I do.
Correct?
I do.
All right. Well, please stay with us, and we will be right back.
Where's Tommy?
I thought he was with you.
No.
Jack.
Tommy?
Go get him.
Don't stop. Keep playing. Here we go. Here's the fun part.
Did you do this?
Great job.
Encouragement. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back to Family Lifestyles. I'm Janey Cline, Family Consumer Science Agent for Hart County, and I have with me Rachel Hance. She is the Family Consumer Science Agent from Logan County. We've been talking about snacking. You've offered some really great tips on healthy snacking, and I think you have a few more to share with us.
I do. I brought some examples. We talked a little bit already about keeping in mind portion control when you are planning for those snacks. And we talked about how many times we sit down with an entire bag or the whole container of whatever we're snacking on, and that leads us to overeating because we don't pay attention to how much we're eating, and we end up eating more than what is recommended as one serving. So I've brought with me today several different healthy snack options to show what is a correct portion or serving size based on the container.
The portion size is so important.
It is, and it just takes a second to read the label on the container. If we look at what we have here, we talked about some different options using the My Plate and getting those healthy snacks from the different food groups. And one option would be some whole grain tortilla chips. And if you count out based on the food label on your tortilla chip bag, one serving is about 17 or 18 chips. So that's what I've counted out here, and you can see the size of that. And if you slow down, stop what you're doing, and pay attention to your snack, like we talked about earlier, then this serving would probably be okay. But when we don't pay attention, we seem to think, oh, this isn't enough.
Right. And this is a snack size bag.
Yes.
And so many times we want to fill that snack size bag full because it's a snack size bag.
Or we use a quart size bag, which is
Right.
larger, and we think we need to fill that up.
Right.
And that's way more than a serving. And that's what I love about these snack size bags is they're perfect for a serving. A serving will fit into these. And it leads us to portion out our food. Even if you were to fill this up, you're not going to get as much as a larger size bag. Another option that I've brought, we talked about using nuts from the protein group. And I brought some mixed nuts here with me. One thing to remember is you're going to get more nutrients from nuts like almonds, cashews, pecans, walnuts, things like that. Less nutrients from peanuts. Not that peanuts are bad, they're just a little higher in fat. So I've chosen the mixed nuts, and you can see this is a serving size. Again,
It looks small.
used in the snack bag.
But if you said, if you're mindfully eating, it will fill you up.
Yes, and two, one thing that we have a tendency to do, especially when eating nuts, we tend to stick several nuts in our mouth at one time. And if we do that, then yes, this would not go far. But if we're mindfully eating and you eat one or two at a time, it's going to take longer to eat one serving than it would if we're going to put a handful in at a time.
Right. Well, you have some other great snacks over here.
I do. We talked about popcorn. Many times we sit down with a bag of popcorn and we'll have a tendency to eat the entire bag. So I've portioned out what, according to the box, what one serving is, which is about 3 cups of popped popcorn. And that's what you can see here in the bowl. It's not a very small amount. It is 3 cups of popcorn, but it's not the entire bag either.
Right. But if you struggle with portion controls and kind of thinking about, oh, this is just a few, where this is a lot more,
Right,
you know, it
right.
looks like a lot more,
Yes.
you might lean toward the popcorn
If
first.
if visually it needs to look like more to you, then you might go for the popcorn just because, yes, this does look like you're getting a lot more than, say, the smaller amount of nuts.
Right.
Of nuts. But again, with popcorn, you would want to pay attention to what kind of popcorn, how much butter does it have on it, what other things are being added to it, and things like that. Because
The butter's what I really struggle with.
I do too. I do too. But those additives, those things that have been added to the popcorn, those are what bring the healthy level down a little
Right.
bit.
And the salt.
Yes.
We can oversalt the
Absolutely.
popcorn.
Absolutely. Some other options that I've brought from the dairy group, we talked about the dairy group. Low-fat string cheese. And you can find, I don't know if you're a string cheese person.
Oh, I love string
We
cheese.
love string cheese in our house. But you can find a variety of flavors of string cheese now. This just happens to be mozzarella, but you can find the Colby Jack, you can find pepper jack, all kinds of different flavors of string cheese options for different flavors. So at home, I try to have more than one option because I don't always like to eat the same flavors over and over and over. But I do like to grab string cheese as a healthy snack.
Great tip.
Are you a yogurt person?
I do love yogurt.
I do too. Not everybody likes yogurt. And I really have grown to like yogurt over the years. And I didn't used to like Greek yogurt because it had kind of a wang to it. But I have, over the past couple of years, that has been my go-to. I really prefer the Greek yogurt, and you get more nutrients from the Greek yogurt, and you can find lots of different flavors in the Greek yogurt in low-fat options. So you're really getting...
It amazes me at the section of yogurts in the stores now. I mean, it's huge.
You almost got to know what you're looking for.
Yes. I can spend like 20 minutes sitting there looking.
I know. And my kids like yogurt, so you almost have to know what they like to really narrow it down because there's so many different options. But the good thing about yogurt and string cheese too are they come in containers that are already convenient. And a lot of times when we think about snacking, we don't snack until we're ready to eat right then. So we grab what is the most convenient, the quickest that we can get to. And that's the good thing about the string cheese and the yogurt is they're already prepackaged in convenient containers.
Right, and as you're going out the door in the morning, if you've forgotten to prepare your snack or whatever,
yes,
you can just grab one of those.
Very easily. But you do have to keep in mind, again, just like with most everything else, even with the yogurt, there are options that are not as healthy. You can find options that have cookie pieces in them and things like that.
But I still feel like, like with the dessert options of yogurt, if you got a key lime pie or something like that, that's better than eating that key lime pie.
It is, because even with the yogurt, especially with the Greek yogurt, you're getting nutrients. You're getting some protein with that. You're not just getting sugar and fat. You're also getting some protein, which is good for you. So if you're looking for ways to increase protein in your diet, a good way to increase that through snacking would be to choose a Greek yogurt.
Yes. Well, Rachel, that's some great tips. And I think you have a recipe to share with us when we come by.
I do. I have a couple of recipes to share.
Awesome. Well, please stay with us and we will be right back.
Parkinson's disease is a neurological movement disorder affecting an estimated 1 million Americans, including many under age 40. It has no cure. Parkinson's is not limited to how a person moves. It can also cause symptoms like depression, fatigue, and impaired speech. Today, there is a new diagnosis every 9 minutes, though Parkinson's can be present for years before being diagnosed. The American Parkinson Disease Association is the largest grassroots network in the United States, working to help ease the burden and find the cure. For more than 50 years, APDA has funded pioneering research and provided critical support to those affected by Parkinson's. Visit apdaoptimism.org today to find out how you can help millions live with dignity and optimism. Your action today will help APDA put an end to Parkinson's disease.
Welcome back to Family Lifestyles. I'm Janey Cline, and I have with me Rachel Hance. We are family consumer science agents from the University of Kentucky's Cooperative Extension Service. Rachel, we've been talking about a lot of healthy snacks, and you have a couple recipes here to share with us that are simple,
Yes.
but yet very nutritious and great things that you can just pack up and take with you to work or school.
Absolutely. The first one that we have over here, since we are into the fall season, and pumpkin seems to be very common during this time of year, this is a very easy recipe to pull together simply because there's only 2 ingredients to it. These are called pumpkin spice snack cakes, and all it consists of is a spice cake mix, boxed spice cake mix, and a can of pumpkin.
So no eggs, oil,
Nothing.
water?
Nothing. You add the pumpkin, pureed pumpkin to the spice cake mix it up, put it in your muffin tins, and bake it just according to the box.
That's very simple.
It is. And the good thing about this recipe is you can substitute the cake flavor. I prefer the spice cake, especially this time of year, simply because it kind of is fitting for the fall.
Tastes like fall.
It does. But you can substitute the spice cake mix with a devil's food cake mix and make them chocolate pumpkin. That's a good way to hide some pumpkin vegetables in if you're feeding these to children, because you don't taste the pumpkin when you mix it with the chocolate cake mix, especially.
Well, I was going to say also, this is a very simple recipe that children would love to prepare in the kitchen and work with you. It's something they almost could do by themselves.
Yes, and I have smaller children at home, so I really prefer to make the mini muffins because they're so easy for snacks. They're easy for my small children to grab as a snack to go, but you could easily make these in the larger size muffin tins just as easy.
Have you ever made it like in a loaf pan?
I haven't, but I've thought about it, and I'm sure it would turn out the same way. You would just slice it like a slice of bread. But like I said, I prefer the mini muffins just because they're really convenient when it's time to eat them.
Also, it really helps with that portion control as well.
It does. But these are so simple. You just mix the 2 ingredients together, bake it according to the box cake mix, and then you're done. And I like to use the liners. I have made them without liners. You just do want to make sure that you grease your muffin tin either way so that it doesn't stick when you're baking.
Great tip. Well, I love this recipe, but you also have another recipe you're going to share with us.
I do. This is a plated up Kentucky Proud recipe that we have in Extension. This is the bacon and tomato dip. You may be familiar with that, but it's super simple to pull together. And you can serve it, I'm going to serve it with some crackers, but you could serve it with some veggie sticks or anything like that. So we'll get started. I have right here 2 large regular slicing tomatoes, okay? And I'm going to add a cup of low-fat sour cream. And I'm just gonna, this is kind of like a dump and mix. If you like
so
those
a great
types of
recipe to take with you as you're going to the holidays, and you know, one of those meals where you're just doing quick foods rather than like a whole meal.
Yes, or
even an appetizer before your
yes,
big meal.
and this is an excellent recipe year-round. It would be great in the summer too, especially if you were going to be inside. I don't know that I would take it if it was going to be outside just because it has the mayonnaise and the sour cream with it. But if it's going to be inside in the air conditioning, it would be great in the summertime too. Now I'm going to add a cup of low-fat mayonnaise to my mixture. And a teaspoon of garlic powder, just adds a little bit of flavor. I'm going to mix this up just a little bit.
I love anything with garlic in it.
I use a lot of garlic powder in my cooking. It's kind of like a staple in my house.
To me, garlic and some of your herbs helps cut down on your salt.
It does. It just gives you that extra flavor that we're looking for without all of the sodium that we don't need in our diet. And I chopped these tomatoes. And as you chop your tomatoes, you're going to get some juice. You can reserve some of that juice for the end to get your dip to the consistency that you want. If you want it a little runnier, you can add a little bit more juice. If you don't want it as runny, then you don't have to use that juice. And the last ingredient that I'm going to put in here are a few slices of bacon. And when you fix bacon, you want it really crispy so that it really crumbles together when you get ready to include it in your recipe. So I've just dumped my crumbled bacon in. Who doesn't love bacon?
Yes. Could you use the bacon that you buy, like the bacon bits, or you can buy bacon crumbles and that kind of thing? Or?
I have never used the bacon bits or like the real bacon pieces, but I'm sure they would be fine. I would probably recommend the ones that are like the real bacon pieces over like the bacon bits. Sometimes they have a little different flavor. These are, I actually used like the pre-cooked bacon that you just warm up and crisp up. That's pretty convenient. It's another convenient option, so you don't have to fry your bacon in the frying pan. That might take a little longer to prepare.
Yes.
And I'm always looking for ways to cut down on preparation time. So once you have all of your ingredients mixed together, and that's all there is to it, just those 5 ingredients.
So simple.
You know, it takes longer to measure everything out and chop up your tomato than it does to pull this together. So it really is a quick dip recipe, and you really get the tomato and the bacon flavor. Okay.
Should you set it in the refrigerator for a little bit and let the flavors kind of mix together?
I like to do that. You don't have to. You could prep your ingredients ahead of time and put them in the refrigerator so that they stay cold if you're going to be ready to serve it as soon as you mix it together. Or you could mix it together and then pop it in the refrigerator and let it cool and chill before you get ready to serve it. But I prefer it chilled and a little cool when I get ready to serve it. So once you have all of your ingredients mixed together, I'm going to transfer to my serving bowl.
That looks delicious.
And again, you can add that excess leftover tomato juice to give it a little, make it a little bit runnier. If that's your preference, it's really whatever you prefer. And again, you can serve this recipe with some low-fat cracker options to get some of those grains into your diet, or some veggie sticks to get some vegetables into your diet.
Carrots, celery.
Yes, yes. Or both. If you were taking this to a party or to be with a group of people, have different options available.
Great tips, great tips. These are some great snacks, and you've offered us a lot of helpful hints as to how to snack healthy. That portion control is so important.
It is, and if there was one thing that I wanted everyone to just probably remember more than anything else, would be to have a plan. To think about your snacks in advance. Make them a part of your daily schedule just like you would a meal, and think ahead to get those healthy options in there.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Rachel. And we have a lot of other tips that you can come by the Extension office in Logan County, Hart County. Every county has an Extension office, so be sure to stop by and grab some healthy snack recipes. Have a great day.